Right. My name is Sarah Ellis. I am the UK representation for trade for Meet Boston in the UK. I work for a company called Travel and Tourism Marketing Limited, and we have worked with Meet Boston for many years now. And it's been really good for us to kind of see the development of the city over the past few years. Um, so it's my pleasure to be able to talk to you about Boston and everything that it can offer your clients. Um, as we kind of go through the presentation. So I'm going to cover off like the general feel of Boston, things to do. Just I don't know how many of you have travelled out to Boston, so I'll do it from kind of like a standing start. And if anyone has any questions, if you just want to pop them in the chat, and we'll try and address them at the end of the session. And if there's anything that I can't come back to you on today, then I will follow up with you afterwards. But just to let you know that I am the point of contact in the UK. Should you have any questions moving forward with regards to anything, could be a simple thing as to where to get the best seafood, or the best place to go for like a rooftop cocktail, or hotel wise kind of advice, etc. So please feel free to kind of grab me at any point if you have anything that you need to know. So Boston. What have we got to offer? Let me just hide you there, Andy. Right. Okay. So Boston is the shortest UK to US international flight. So it's a nice, easy hop across to Boston. Once you get into Boston Logan International Airport, it's a really short kind of journey into downtown Boston as well. We're talking about 3 kilometers maximum. So it's a nice, easy transition from airport to downtown. As you can see here, you have the airport landing here and the skyline kind of in the background there. So ease of arrival and access. So you have many ways to get across into Boston itself. Transportation, obviously Uber, Lyft. We also have like water taxis, which is quite a glamorous way to arrive in the city and not something that you'll get pretty much anywhere else really. So really easy to access. There's train lines that will take you straight into downtown Boston, and it really is quick and easy. Last time I went in, I was at the hotel that I was staying at in the Seaport District within 10 minutes of leaving the airport. So that really is how quick it is to get downtown. Once you get into Boston, what you can expect to find is a low-rise city. We're not like a high-rise full of skyscraper type city. We've got a beautiful skyline. We're a very green city, so there's lots of green spaces, lots of kind of like living walls, lots of trees kind of dotted around all of the different neighborhoods. It's flat, it's walkable, and it's easy to kind of access on foot. If you want to cycle, you can cycle it and do like a bike tour because it is lovely and flat. The only hill you'll probably find is going to be Beacon Hill, which is like the old money kind of area, the lovely brownstone homes. So it's very comfortable, it's very relaxed, it feels very safe, and you don't really feel like a tourist in Boston. I feel like it's somewhere that personally I would happily go on holiday on my own. Grab a coffee, mooch around the shops, go and see the sights, and feel perfectly comfortable doing that. So it's a really kind of like comfortable city. So just to give you an idea of scale, it's also a nice compact city. So everywhere that you go to is within kind of easy reach. This map here, if you have a look at Fenway here over on the left of my screen, the home of the Red Sox, Fenway Park. If you were to walk from there across in a straight line to the waterfront, where you can go whale watching from May to October, it is going to be about approximately an hour and a half maximum. So that kind of gives you an idea of scale of the city and how lovely and kind of condensed it is. So it makes it easy when clients are out there that they can literally walk from neighbourhood to neighbourhood, kind of find their own Boston experience. And they don't have to worry about kind of like relying on public transport if they don't want to. But even if they do, we have a great underground system, which is called the T system, which is really easy to navigate. It's kind of like red line, green line, blue line. And it's really simple to kind of use that to navigate the city if you want to. Appreciate that all clients are going to want to walk, or the weather might not suit. So just to give you an idea of the neighbourhoods, predominantly I would say that most UK clients would generally stay in this kind of neighbourhood here, like around here, which is like Back Bay, near to Boston Common, Copley Square, Seaport District, which is the newest neighbourhood to kind of be developed in Boston. And basically, there's hotels kind of all around this area, including Downtown Crossing, which is where you'll find kind of like the theatre shows, standard kind of shopping like TK Maxx or TJ Maxx as they call it, Primark, those kind of shops. And the financial district. So that really is kind of like the area that UK clients will tend to gravitate towards. There are other hotels, obviously, in all of the other areas, including Southend, Fenway, and all around. But generally, this is kind of the most popular areas for clients to stay. Other thing to mention is using that T system or even grabbing a bike or an Uber, you can go across the river to Cambridge, and that is across to Harvard Square. So Harvard and MIT are located across the river. And definitely one thing I would mention is a good thing for clients to do is going to be a Harvard walking tour with a student. So they'll take you around the campus, they'll tell you what it's like to be there, to study there, answer any questions that you have. And it's just also a really lovely area to go and visit. So I thoroughly recommend that clients, if they go out to Boston, head across to Cambridge and Harvard and go and do that as a tour. It's a free tour. They can book it online with the visitor centre. So it's a nice thing to do and it doesn't cost you anything. So, essential Boston, we are known as a walkable city on the coastline that I've covered already. We are the birthplace of the US, basically. That kind of the historic side of Boston, that's what we're really well known for, but we're also a very forward-thinking city. So there's lots of things like you see, we've got Harvard, we've got MIT there. So very forward-thinking. We've got street graffiti art tours. We've got all sorts of kind of things going on in and around Boston. We're definitely a sporting city, and we'll cover that off shortly. Go Patriots, they're in town on Sunday playing at Wembley. And then we also have tax-free shopping on clothing and shoes up to the value of $175. So at the moment with the exchange rate, I think everyone's happy to get as much as they can from kind of like that benefit. So we we have 2,100 acres of green space. Like I mentioned before, we have public gardens, we have Boston Common, we have little kind of like pocket of parkland around different neighborhoods. And it again adds to that kind of like lovely feel to Boston that you have all of this greenscape around you, kind of in the middle of the city, in and around even the financial district. And there are clusters like 15 national parks within the greater Boston area, and we have the lovely waterfront. So we're surrounded by water, which also, again, gives the city a lovely feel and a different aspect of kind of activities that clients can do whilst they're out there. And we actually have a total of 75 kilometres of harbour walk. So yeah, so great place to get out and go for a run if you're so inclined when you go on holiday. Boston Harbour, as I say, the waterfront there, we have Boston Harbour, we have tall ships docked there, we have lots of boating activities, we have the head of the Charles race that takes place on the Charles River, which is basically like the Oxford-Cambridge boat race. We have sailing gatters, you can go kayaking, sailing lessons, go paddleboarding, you can hire little two-men speedboats, and just really get out and enjoy Boston from the water. If you want to do a guided tour from the water, we also have the Boston Harbour City Tours, where they do evening kind of cruises, day cruises, and they're also the company that run the whale watching tours. And we also have the Boston Duck Tours, so the land and sea kind of typical Boston Duck Tour kind of scenic there. And then whale watching. So whale watching is something I think with regards to Boston isn't something you're going to get to do for many city breaks. It goes out from next to the Boston New England Aquarium at the waterfront, allow clients about half a day to do the tour, but it will take you out east in an easterly direction towards Cape Cod, and basically it's a very rich kind of like ground for whale watching. And it's also very respectfully done. So it's not a case of lots of different kind of like boats out there. It really is. We did it in July last year. Lovely sunny day, lovely calm seas, and we went into the area that there are a few whales and another boat was just leaving. So it really is really well done. It's actually the tour guide is a marine biologist, so it comes from a very educational point of view. So it's a really great experience. and that can be booked through Boston Harbour City Tours. And then world-class museums. So we have a great wealth of kind of like history, as I say. We have world-class museums, art galleries. We're actually a very cultured city as well. So you have the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, the Museum of Science. You have the Children's Museum, which is great for families. That's a very interactive kind of levels of activity for all different ages. So their kind of ethos is to education through learning and through play. So that's a great one for the families. We have the JFK Library and Museum. Obviously, the JFK kind of like family, the Kennedy family have like the Boston and Martha's Vineyard links there. And we also have the Harvard Museum of Natural History. So the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum tends to rate very highly on people's kind of lists of favourite museums in Boston. And then we have lots of different trails as well. So the Freedom Trail is probably the one that you may already have heard of. The Freedom Trail is the one that has like the red markers around the city. You can do that as a self-guided tour. You don't have to have a guide. You literally can follow the markers and the reference points there, and that will take you around the most significant historic sites in Boston itself. If you do want to do it with the tour guide, you can do either normal tour guide, or you can even do it with a tour guide that's dressed up in kind of costume from the era. So it's you'll see them kind of like walking around in little groups around the city as you're kind of wandering around. But the Freedom Trail is definitely kind of up there with one of the most popular trails that we have. We also have a whole host of others, including the Black Heritage Trail, the Irish Heritage Trail, and the Women's Heritage Trail as well. So those are kind of like some of the top ones that we recommend that you explore whilst you're in the city. So Harbour Walk, and as I say, I've mentioned the Harbour Walk where you can walk along the coastline. You can kind of go as far out as you like on that. Great if you hire cycles or on foot. A great way to see Boston as a city is actually to do a cycle tour. We have a company out there called Advent Tours who do guided cycle tours, and they will take you through all the different neighbourhoods. You'll go across the river, and it's a great way to kind of get your bearings of the city and find out a little bit more about the different neighbourhoods as they kind of narrate as you cycle round. It's not that strenuous. It's a nice level tour. Like I say, the fact that Boston is lovely and flat makes that lovely and easy. I'm not keen on hills on a bike, so I'm sure I'm not the only one here. The only hill you'll probably come across is going to be Beacon Hill. And even then, you can get off and walk it. It's not a problem. So thoroughly recommend a cycle tour of Boston. Another thing that we also recommend, which is new, opened up in April 2023, is View Boston at the top of the Prudential Tower. I would recommend this is a good place for actually for guests to start with one of their first kind of sites in Boston, because as you go up there, it's actually at the top of the Prudential Tower. The Prudential is like a shopping mall, and then the tower is attached to that. As you go up the top floor now is actually a 360-degree viewing platform. Basically, the whole floor has huge floor-to-ceiling windows with amazing views across the city. And within the complex, you have information about different sites that you're looking at whilst you're going around the viewing platform. You get a scanner and you can scan like QR codes and get information on the things that you've seen that you may be interested in. And at the end, you scan your code and it gives you like a printout of all of the information about the things that you've highlighted that you really want to see. So it's a really good way for people to get an overview of the city, but also then to get a bit more in-depth information about the things that they've kind of like struck a chord with them that they want to go and see. There is also an amazing cocktail bar up there and great views and a great terrace area, which on a clear sunny day is basically unbeatable. And there is also a huge to scale model of the Boston city, and it goes through like a little mini light show of night to day, and it's a really amazing kind of setup what they've done up there. So thoroughly recommend doing that. And then you can come downstairs and you're in the Prudential Tower in the shopping centre, and you can go and spend loads of money on tax-free shopping items. Okay, so we also have the Rose Kennedy Greenway. I don't know if anyone has been to Boston in years past that might remember the Big Dig. We're talking quite some time ago now, probably like the last 20 years maybe. But there used to be a freeway that literally cut the city of Boston kind of down the middle. And they decided that what they were going to do was they were going to do the Big Dig, and they were going to basically not bury, but kind of take the freeway underground through the middle of the city, which really kind of meant that the neighborhoods were more connected, more walkable, and you would never know basically that that's what you've got. You basically, if you look at a map, the highway is there and it just disappears underground and pops up the other side. And that whole area, the Rose Kennedy Greenway, is now a beautiful kind of like area where you've got little coffee shops, you've got lots of green space. It's a nice little kind of like area to go walking, people watching. And as I say, it's peaceful and it kind of makes all of the neighbourhoods a little bit more connected. So that's something that they've done over recent years, which really has kind of opened up the city. Um, So other things you can do include, so we talked about the Boston Duck tours there. We've got the hop on, hop off trolley. We also have the cycle tours. You've got lots of walking tours as well, guided walking tours, be that food based, history based. So there are lots of different ways to actually get around and see the city, see what it has to offer, and kind of get an in-depth feel for the history, kind of like how Boston was founded. And then you also have fun things like the Ghost and Gravestone trolley tour. There's lots of stories, obviously, because it is the birthplace of America. There are lots of stories, kind of like hauntings and spooky tales. And if you're at the Omni Parker House Hotel, pretty much over the road from there is one of like the oldest graveyards in Boston. So I personally I love that kind of thing. So I like to go around and find the oldest gravestone. So it's right there in the middle of the city for you if that's your thing. Um, Another thing that we have, I think over recent years as well, certainly they have developed more of an evening and kind of like outdoor dining, rooftop bar type culture. We have some award-winning rooftop bars in Boston. Some to mention are Pier 6 at the Waterfront Restaurant in Charlestown and the Lookout Rooftop Bar at the Envoy Hotel in Seaport area. That actually was voted one of the best rooftop bars in the US. So you have great views across the skyline there. In the winter, they tend to put like the little igloos up there, like the little domes, so they can make it like an all-weather rooftop bar. But amazing views and top of a great hotel. The Envoy Hotel has some really interesting kind of like artwork as you go around, made out of old, I don't know, like music sets and all sorts of things. So it's a great hotel to kind of go look at the artwork, hang around, have a drink, and you're right on the waterfront there over in the Seaport District. And then the Colonnade Hotel rooftop bar as well. We had the first North American brand Raffles Hotel to open up in Boston last summer. And they also have a great kind of terrace up on one of the higher floors there. We can go out and have a drink. You can have some dinner in the restaurant that's adjacent to it. So I would recommend having a look at the Raffles property if you're out there because it really is a stunning hotel. Um, and then Sports Town, excuse me. So we have teams in each of the main kind of like four major US sports. So we have the Boston Celtics for the basketball. We have the Bruins for the ice hockey, and the Celtics and Bruins actually share TD Gardens as their stadium. They will flip the basketball court or the ice hockey rink into the basketball court in a number of hours, which is a really interesting thing to see. So you have TD Gardens for that. Then you have Fenway Park for the Red Sox and the baseball, and you have the Gillette Stadium for the New England Patriots, which is located about 20 minutes south of Boston. So we are a hugely kind of like renowned city for sports. We are also one of the host cities for the FIFA World Cup in 2026. So if you have clients, they're probably going to start to be looking at that very shortly as we kind of fly through 2024. So Boston is a really easy option for people if they want to go and see some World Cup games. They will be held at the Gillette Stadium. So nice and easy to access. Again, that short flight into Boston, short hop into the city, and then really easy access down to the Gillette Stadium. So I, for one, will definitely be looking at going out there myself, hopefully, to see some of the games. But it's a great thing to do in Boston is also to do, we are a university town, so there is also a lot of college football that takes place too. So if you can't get tickets for one of the main games, always kind of look to the college level games to go and see those as well, because they're equally, as popular. And it's a really good thing, interaction, authentic, get in with the locals and kind of really get absorbed in that kind of like sports kind of mode. Um, each of the stadiums will offer stadium tours as well. So even if it's not match day, you can go and do a stadium tour. They also have like museums and memorabilia attached there. So it really is an interesting aspect of the city. Fenway Park that you can see pictured here also has a new events centre attached to it, which is the MGM kind of arena, which is, I think it's only 5,000 seats. So, but it's attached directly to Fenway Park. But that's a nice little venue if you want to go and catch a concert. TD Gardens also hosts like large concerts in the city. So yeah, so sports we definitely have, and because we have something in each of those kind of main sports, the seasons always kind of like overlap. So there's generally always something going on in Boston sports wise that you can go and see, and that there is the lovely Gillette Stadium. So beautiful stadium. And then food. So seafood, as you'd expect, is big in Boston. We're right on the waterfront. We're located just south of Maine, who provides the US with pretty much, I think, 80% of its lobster. So seafood is amazing, but that is not the only food that we offer. We have a whole host of different types of food. It's a very kind of like eclectic mix of food types that we offer. We have lots of food markets, and that ranges from kind of like local produce through to all different kind of like international cuisines. We also have a dine out a week, which is takes place twice a year. And basically, that gives people the opportunity to experience some of the high-end restaurants that are quite hard to get into, or have a higher price point, for like a low price set menu. And those are really, really popular weeks. So people will book, and you can experience like a James Beard kind of level restaurant, which is their equivalent as the Michelin star, for maybe like a set menu of like $30-40 per head. So it really is the dine out Boston is very, very popular. Like I said, it takes place generally kind of springtime and fall time. But I can double check the dates on that. That can change slightly. Food market wise, we have High Street Place, which is I actually start with Boston Public Market. There you go. So Boston Public Market is basically where you find lots of local produce. So you can go around, you can sample, I don't know, homemade cheese, homemade cider. Their cider marshmallows are definitely one to look out for. And it's a really lovely kind of like informal market. It's busy. They've got like a little seating area where if you buy food, you can go and sit. They have like pre-prepared like meals as well. So Boston Public Market is more about the local produce. And they also have a little section in there where you can do things like arts and crafts with local businesses, as well. So a smaller section, but really interesting. You get to see like the owners of the companies. This is their life, this is their investment. So they are there on hand, kind of like teaching different things, how to hand make. I don't know, it could be anything from sewing or artwork or anything like that, alongside all of like the locally produced food. Time Out of Food Market as well. That one is one where you've got lots of different kind of like food types under one roof. And then actually I'll go through. We've got High Street Place, which again is very similar to that. You have lots of different counters of food types there, and it could be anything from sushi to tacos to fried chicken to vegetarian to whatever. Kind of grabs your tickles your fancy, but they have like different stands throughout there, all under one roof. So those are kind of like the prime ones. We also have Italy, which is obviously Italian based, and there is actually one of those over in the UK. But not only can you kind of like buy food, you can also buy like different cooking wares, pasta makers, all sorts of things, everything kind of like related to Italian food. There's actually the Italy in Boston is actually located in the Prudential Centre, um, the shopping mall that we spoke about earlier. So also lots of craft breweries and beer gardens. Like I say, local produce is a big thing in Boston. They like to support like the local businesses, the craft breweries, nice informal beer gardens to kind of go alongside that rooftop bar culture. So you have a real mixture of like casual through to a bit more kind of like swanky rooftop bars. Um, and then shopping. So shopping, tax-free shopping on clothing and shoes up to $175. One of my favorite pastimes. You have different areas. You have some outlet shopping. We've got the Rentham Premium Outlets, which is kind of between Boston and New York. Um, Easily reached from Boston on a day trip. So you can do outlet shopping. We have Assembly Row shops, which is like in the city, just kind of across the water from the Wynn Hotel. And the Wynn Hotel is very much the Wynn Vegas. It has a full service casino, the same kind of luxury service and elegant surroundings. So we have a Wynn Hotel, and the Wynn Hotel is the only gaming casino in Boston itself. They also operate their own boats to and from the airport and to downtown. So it's just slightly further out. It's not in the central kind of like downtown portion that I showed you of Boston earlier, just across the river, just north of the airport, but it's easily accessed and it is a lovely, lovely hotel. Shopping. Anyway, Assembly Row shops up near the Wynn Hotel. Then we also have Newbury Street and Ballston Street, where you've got like the high-end shops, and that is the picture that you can see here in the top left-hand corner of my screen, and that's basically where the shops are all kind of in the original brownstone buildings. So you don't feel like you're walking down like a high street where there's like rows of shops. It's all kind of like nicely hidden away in the buildings, a very classy kind of feel, lovely coffee shops down there, a couple of restaurants, and then these beautiful kind of like shops, some of which are high end, some of which are independent. Um, and then you also have, like we say, the Prudential Centre, which is more kind of like your everyday shops. And then you also have like Downtown Crossing again, which has a mixture of shops down there. So you can go to Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market. Quincy Market is the place to go if you want to get like an I Love Boston t-shirt, local kind of fridge magnets, or that's where you'll pick up like your gifts for the family, and your Cheers bar kind of t-shirts and mugs and memorabilia. So it's a really lovely place to kind of like mooch around. It's indoor outdoor market. Again, the sides of that are kind of like just different stores there. You might have some clothing stores as well as kind of like the gift ideas. A hotel that is located very near to the Quincy Market, and I'm talking literally you walk out the back door and you're within a minute's walk of Quincy Market and Faneuil Hall, is the Hilton by Canopy Hotel in Boston, which is a lovely hotel. It's great for families, good size rooms there. It's got one of those sort of hotel lobbies where you feel like you could sit and just have a coffee and just kind of watch people coming and going. It doesn't feel corporate in any way. It's just a really lovely, comfortable hotel with lovely decor. It opened up, I think, last year or 2022. Sorry, my years have kind of like merged into one recently. But the yeah, access point there into Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market, it literally is just across the street. So it's a really nice one. And the front of that backs onto the Rose Kennedy Greenway. So they have a bar area up there where you can sit and have coffee. You can watch TV, you can grab a drink at the bar, and they have like huge windows all along that basically bifolds that fold all the way back and leave this kind of lovely framing of the Rose Kennedy Greenway where we talked about the Big Dig earlier. So that is a beautiful hotel that I would thoroughly recommend for clients. And then we are a city of culture and iconic neighborhoods. So we have a lot of, as you kind of go around the city, you're going to see lots of like pop-up kind of art installations. As you can see here, you've got like the seagull in the bottom image there. You'll see a lot of these types of sculptures as you kind of like walk around and move around the city. We also have a lot of kind of like trendy street art there and graffiti art. And we are made up of like a number of different neighborhoods. some of which, like we've seen, are kind of like central, some of which are kind of like in the greater Boston area, so a little bit further out, but certainly worth visiting. We have a lot of affiliation with Martin Luther King as well. So he actually met his wife in Boston. We have the new Embrace statue on Boston Common, which is, you have to go and see it. It's a huge statue which recreates the embrace between him and his wife. Once that opened up in January 2023. So it's a great photo opportunity. And then it gives you the story of kind of like the links that we have with Martin Luther King within the city itself around kind of the statue. So that is well worth a visit. Um, and there you go. Well timed. So that is the Embrace statue. You can see the scale of it and the size of it. And that is just in the middle of Boston Common. So really easy to find, really central, and it recreates the embrace between the couple there. So nightlife, entertainment and concert venues. We've talked about the MGM venue, which is attached to Fenway Park, which you can see in the top left-hand corner there. You also have Boston Calling and the Boston Pops, which basically is outdoor concerts that take place kind of down by the waterfront in Boston. They have like the Boston Pops 4th of July kind of celebrations, outdoor music, and then they have like the fireworks going off in the background, which is an amazing thing to see. You have TD Gardens there. You also have like the little independent kind of theatres. You have the TD Gardens we spoke about, sorry. And then you have like different music venues throughout the city, across in Harvard and Cambridge as well. So some great little kind of like pockets of places. If you love like things like vintage record stores, if you love kind of like those little like independent like bars that have like live music, Boston is a great place to kind of go and find those places. Another thing that we've had open up, this opened up a couple of years ago, Tallship Boston at Pier 1. I love this place. This is open seasonally during the summer. It is a tall ship. It's over at Pier 1, East Boston, easily reached from downtown in about 2 minutes on a water taxi. You jump on board, head over to Pier 1, walk down the wharf, and then you've got tall ship docked at the wharf in the summer, and it basically has a seafood and oyster bar on board, a bar for drinks and cocktails there, and attached to the wharf that it's attached to, you're going to find food trucks kind of dotted around the edge. They've got games like hacksack games. You've got like giant Jenga there. You've got like picnic bench style seating. So you can do it very casually. You can do that, or you can hire out like as you can see, top left hand corner there, like a private couch seating area where you get table service. And basically, it's just a lovely place to spend a sunny afternoon in Boston. It's chilled out. They normally have a DJ playing. When we were there in the summer, they had a saxophone playing along. It's got kind of chilled Ibiza vibes to it with regards to that aspect of it. Lovely kind of background beach style music. But whilst you're sat there, you've got the Boston skyline behind you, kind of like sailing boats like tinkering past, whilst you're enjoying like, a catch up with friends, a cocktail, some seafood, and it's just something unique to Boston that's opened up in recent years. So a really lovely addition to kind of like our outdoors scene. So to talk about just some of the hotels that we have. So we've mentioned the Raffles Hotel there. Um, I have this list, and which shows you kind of like the star rating, the area that they're in. Some mentionable ones here. So we had the Raffles Hotel that we spoke about there. We've also got the 15 Beacon Hotel, which is a great luxury property in Beacon Hill. The Langham Boston in the financial districts actually had a refurb, just kind of like post-COVID. It used to be an old bank, so each of the rooms has a very different layout. It's not like a kind of like, standard floor plan of like, I don't know, 12 by 16 or what have you. Each room is slightly different. As you go kind of further up into the building, you've got some really lovely kind of quirky original features there. So the Langham Hotel, beautiful restaurant in there for breakfast as well. And then we've also got, like I say, we do luxury very well in Boston. We've got the Mandarin Oriental, we've got the Raffles, we've got the Fairmont Copley Plaza. We do that very well, but we also do cater for across the board type accommodation. So we've got a Yotel down in the Seaport District. I mentioned the Seaport District earlier as kind of like one of the newest neighborhoods in Boston. Um, that has got some fantastic hotels down there. It's where the convention centre is located. It's where the Boston Tea Party ships are, so really easy to access. And down there, you've got things like the Westin. There's an Element Hotel, the Envoy Hotel that we spoke about with that award-winning kind of rooftop bar is down there. We've got the Yotel for something different. There's a great sports bar down there. So really lovely area to stay, 10 minutes from the airport, and really easy. 2-minute walk across the bridge and you're down into that kind of financial district, Quincy Market, Faneuil Hall, leading into kind of like downtown crossing, and then opening up into like Back Bay, Copley Square area. So really lovely area to stay in the Seaport. I would thoroughly recommend that area. Like I say, we have Omni Park House there, which is a 4-star. That's more central, and that is where you've got the gravestones over the road. Don't let that put you off. It's a beautiful property. We've got the Element Hotel. We've got all sorts of accommodations there, including accommodations over the river in Cambridge. Historically, Cambridge used to be a slightly cheaper price point for Boston, but that really has kind of like leveled out over the years. We call it Boston's left bank. So where we said we've got MIT and Harvard there, you've got shops over there, you've got restaurants. The beauty of the hotels over there are that if you get a waterfront one, you get amazing views back of the Boston skyline because you're over the river. So don't be shy in putting people into Cambridge as an option if they want to stay in Boston because it really is like, again, just over the bridge, easy to reach into like the downtown area. Just going to check how long I've been talking for. So I'm going to do a quick run through of the different neighbourhoods, um, just to give you an idea and some visuals on what they look like here. So Seaport District we've spoken about. Like I say, we've got some amazing properties down there. You've got Liberty Wharf there, which is home to Legal Harborside, and there's 4 restaurants down there. They've got a Trader Vic's down there, and it's really easy to access. You've got some good properties, and they've built up the infrastructure of shops, restaurants, and everything that kind of goes with a new neighbourhood. So well established now. When I say in recent years, that has taken place over the last 5 or 6 years. So it really is a great established neighbourhood. Beacon Hill is home of the State House and kind of like the elegant townhouses. That's where you'll see the iconic picture of the little cobbled street. That is Beacon Hill. There you've got the Liberty Hotel, the Whitney, the 15 Beacon. Also kind of like the Freedom Trail runs through this neighbourhood as well as the Black Heritage Trail, and Acorn Street. There you go. That's the most photographed city in Boston, and that is the brownstone buildings there with the little cobbled street. North End is where you'll find some of the oldest residential houses and neighbourhoods, and there is a amazing food scene there, and it's Italian food. So if you want espressos, gelato, pizza, pasta, pastries, this is definitely the neighbourhood to find it. And very it's nice to kind of walk around here, grab a pastry, grab a coffee, and just kind of like mooch around, really. I think that's what Boston's all about, really. It's just wandering. You don't need to necessarily even have a set plan. It's just a case of kind of like just mooching around and finding your own adventures as you go. So the Rose Kennedy Greenway. So this is good. It's great to be able to show you kind of like the big dig. So as you can kind of see here, this is where the highway or the freeway ran through the middle of the city. And now you can see that, you wouldn't even realize it. You've got lots of kind of like green parkland there. You've got little spots to sit. You have like street performers there. And it's a really nice kind of connectivity between the different neighborhoods. And then Faneuil Hall and Marketplace, as we say, this is where you go for kind of like your I love Boston kind of gifts, indoor outdoor market and Quincy Market there. And then you've also got like a tap room, Sam Adams tap room down there. Obviously, Sam Adams is popular in Boston. And then the waterfront. So the waterfront it's just a lovely, peaceful part of the city. And again, I think having the water there with the city, it gives way to some lovely kind of waterfront restaurants, waterfront bars. You've got you can cycle down here, you can walk down here, and you get great views of the city. You can do the whale watching. You can go to the New England Aquarium. You've got the Boston Tea Party ships and museum there where you can go on. It's an interactive kind of experience. You take place in like a town hall meeting, and you get to throw like fake tea into the river. Lots of harbour cruises and ferries go from here. So ferries from Boston, again, waterfront opens up different options for clients that's staying in Boston. So you can get ferries from Boston up north to Salem, which isn't far at all. And especially this time of year in October, they have like the Halloween festival whole way through October. So it's a really great thing for people to be able to do directly from Boston. You can also go out to Cape Cod and across to Provincetown. Provincetown at the tip of Cape Cod, easily reached by ferry. So very LGBTQ friendly town, white sandy beaches, clam bakes on the beach, artsy. There's lots of lovely kind of like locally made artwork and kind of like crafted items. But clients can go from Boston and do Provincetown, get a bit of the Cape Cod kind of feel in a day quite easily from Boston. So lots of different options for people to do there. We spoke about Back Bay. Again, this is going to be a popular area for clients to stay once they're in Boston. This is kind of where you'll find the Boston Public Gardens attached to Boston Common, Prudential Centre. You've got the Convention Centre there, Newbury Street, which is where we have the high-end kind of shopping area. And then you have a really good variety of kind of hotel options in and around the Back Bay area. And this is also where you'll find Trinity Church, which is like one of the kind of like must-see sites in Boston. And then the Fenway. So Fenway Park, obviously, home to the Boston Red Sox. And then over in this area, you'll also find a great range of bars and restaurants. This is where the Time Out Food Market is located. And then you've also got the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum that I mentioned earlier, Museum of Fine Arts, and the Symphony Hall. So that little pocket there, a range of things to do right in the middle of kind of like Fenway, and obviously the baseball stadium kind of is the anchor for all of that. And then Southend, here you have kind of like the largest Victorian this brick built district in the US. You'll find that it does resemble London quite a lot. You have the little squares with the little park, the green space in between the houses. We've got lots of unique restaurants, bars, shops here. The Revolution Hotel and Stay Pineapple are some of the newest hotels in Boston, and they are located in the South End area. And then Charlestown. So here you have the USS Constitution on the waterfront. You have the ferry service to and from Long Wharf, and the free ferry services across to East Boston, where we also had like the tall ship that I just showed you. Lots of shops and restaurants here, and just kind of like the Naval Yard and Bunker Hill Monument. So that in itself is that historic kind of like nautical themed area in Charlestown. And then Chinatown, the theatre district. So we have the third largest, put my teeth in, third largest Chinatown in the US, in Boston here. This is also home to theatres like the Charles Playhouse, where you'll find the Blue Man Group who play in Boston. Great shopping at Downtown Crossing. So this is kind of like a typical like theatre district, hustly and bustly area with some kind of like great shopping, and more of like your department store shopping, Primark, TK Maxx, those types of shops in and around the area. But then you might have found like a little doorway, and you go in there and you go upstairs, and it's like the most amazing seafood restaurant that you've ever seen. And you would never know it was kind of like there unless you knew it was there, so to speak. So it's a place to kind of explore. And then some of the kind of areas a little bit further out, you've got neighbourhoods to mention. So Roxbury there, which has a lot of like the Nubian street art, and is also home of the Museum of the National Centre for Afro-American Arts. Hence that kind of like tie in with the street art as well. So there's a lot of artwork that you'll see as you just walk around the neighbourhood there for Roxbury. Um, and that kind of covers all of the key points I wanted to get across today. I think the main thing really for Boston is a city where if you haven't been there, you need to get out there, because once you're out there, you'll really love it. It's somewhere that you will find easy to navigate, comfortable, and you feel like you can really get under the skin of Boston within kind of like, a short time. It's not one of those cities where, um, you know, you kind of get lost and you can't cover everything in one go. It's really nice to access all of these kind of like key sites, and certainly ways to do it are with a lot of the walking tours and guided tours or bike tours, where you can kind of like zip around the city and kind of like see all of these sites. Um, so yeah, I could talk about it for
Thank.
hours more, but I won't bore you.
Right, thank you very much, Sarah. We've got quite a few comments,
Oh dear.
and we've got a few. No, 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 they're all good. Don't worry, and I'll go in them in order. So we've definitely got a fan, and as you'll see from Lynn. Well, first of all, we'll start with Angela, who said she's definitely going because she wants to do some tax-free shopping for her clothes and shoes. So I think you'll
Good.
expect a visit from Ange pretty soon.
Always.
Um, yeah. And oh, we've got your other screen up, Sarah, on the front screen again.
Let me just get
There
rid of
we go.
that.
Yeah,
There
no
you
problem. And then Lynn,
go.
who's very definitely a fan of Boston, she's put great shopping centre and she's done a great movie tour in the city, which was super interesting.
Yeah.
Isla says she loves the fact that there's a Boston duck tour. We've got cheeky Don Clark pushing for a fam trip for the the World Cup.
Me too.
Uh,
Me too.
Lynn again is saying she loves the lobster rolls from Boston.
Yeah.
And Isla said she was saying she's glad that you're talking about food. She thought that was the highlight of the webinar. And then Elizabeth says looks nice. She's enjoying trying new cuisines. And then Lynn again, she loves Newbury Street. You'd mentioned Newbury Street,
Yeah.
and she's saying lots of little lovely little coffee shops there too. And Isla has asked a specific question. She's got her daughter's ninth birthday, and they went to stay in the Kimberley in New York, and her daughter loved the fish in the lobby, i.e. there was an aquarium. Is there a hotel with a built-in aquarium in Boston? Do you know?
Oh, good question. No, I do know the Fairmont has a house dog though, that you can take the dog
Ah,
out for a walk. Um,
fantastic.
I love
Okay.
it. Yeah,
So yeah, that
they
was
have
from
a
Isla.
hotel dog.
And then we've got Down Travel Service who are asking for Thanksgiving dinner spots that aren't seafood.
Um, okay, so to be honest, if you weirdly, if you go out over Thanksgiving and 4th of July time, it's actually a really nice time for UK consumers to travel because it is actually a little bit quieter because obviously everyone's off doing their own thing and holidays. Thanksgiving dinner spots, I mean, not everywhere in Boston is seafood orientated. I'd certainly say probably one of the lovely hotel restaurants we've got. You've got the Oak Room at the Fairmont, which is a lovely restaurant. Raffles have a great restaurant up there. That might be one for me to come back to you on if you want
Okay.
like a specific list of places to go. Let me just make a note of that. Thanksgiving
Yeah.
dinners. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Yep.
And then Lynn again is saying she loves the Italian restaurants in the North End, and
Yep.
also that the Sam Adams Brewery tour is one of the best that she'd ever done.
Oh, good. Okay.
They took the ferry over to P Town, which was incredible.
Yes.
And then Alana, thanks for the shout out here, Alana. Alana stayed at the Revere Hotel in Boston. She booked it with Stuba. Thanks, Alana. And she said a great hotel and really central location. Also took a trip to Martha's Vineyard, and that was just wow.
I
So getting a lot of love here. Um,
love this
Lynn
love.
loves Boston. She's been twice and can't wait to get back. And then we've got some nice comments here. Carol, thank you for a great presentation. Would love to visit Boston one day. And Lynn again. Lynn, you're a super fan. But they've also done a Segway tour, which is
Okay,
a
yeah.
great way to see the city quickly if you don't have time. Um, just looking, so I think with lots of nice comments coming back. Yeah, just a lot of people thanking you for a really great presentation, Tara.
Oh, good. I
Um,
was going to say I did actually mention the movie. So a lot of movies are filmed in Boston. you may well find that if you kind of are wandering around the city, that you will come across like a film set as you're going around there. A lot of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon films are filmed in Boston because obviously that's where they met and that's where they come from. You can go to the Boston Public Gardens and see like the Goodwill Hunting Bench. So there is a lot. We were on a cycle tour last time we were out there, and we drove across the end of a film set, and it was for the Madame Web film. Not a great
Right.
movie, by all accounts, but you know, you kind of these are the sorts of things that you might come across as you kind of go around the city. So always keep an eye out for what's going on.
Yeah, Lynn was the one who said she did the movie tour, which was fantastic. So
Yeah. We had one question that I had noticed that I just looking at our system for. Adam had asked if there was any hotels that you could recommend that have 2 bedrooms for larger parties or families. I've had a quick look on our system just to see what we had, and we've got that. The quick look I had, I found 1, 2, 3, 4, found 6. We've got Homewood Suites by Hilton, Town Place Suites by Marriott. There's the Embassy Suites, Residence Inns, and a couple of others. There are quite a few properties that do have larger rooms that have multiple beds. It's not 2 bedrooms that you were looking for, but certainly on the system, if you go to the curated category for families and filter using that, we'll return properties that have got the 2 bedrooms available. Hope that helps.
Yeah, I was going to say, like I say, we talk about luxury hotels but there are some great family orientated hotels as well. The rooms at the Hilton Canopy Hotel are quite large as well. They would be good for families. Obviously, a lot of hotels do the interconnecting rooms. Actually, an area I didn't talk about was Revere Beach, which is easily reached on the T system, the underground system, but is the US's first public beach, and there are some nice properties down there. And I think one of the ones you might have mentioned, I can't remember if it was the Embassy Suites. There's an Embassy Suites down there which has like huge rooms for families, and it faces the waterfront, white sandy beaches and promenades. So it's 13 minutes on the underground system, 13 minutes. So really easy if clients want to do something different like that and bob backwards and forwards to the city. So yeah, a bit more space. So.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And just one other thing before we finish, I forgot to say at the start, but it was on the emails that there was a prize up for grabs for everyone that attended today. So I've just put it through a random number generator thing online while we've been talking, and the winner of the €50 one for all voucher is Elizabeth Young from Steen Travel. I will drop you an email after this, Elizabeth, regarding your prize, and we will, between Sarah and I, will arrange a prize for you. Congratulations. And thank you so much, Sarah. That was really informative. Boston's now on my list to go to as well. I am going to New York next week, but I'll be back in the States fairly soon and go to Boston. I've never been to New York either, but I haven't been to Boston yet either. Too many places in the world that I need to go. I need more
love New
holidays.
York. I love New York, but Boston is yeah, you'll see. You need to do a comparison to the two and come back to me, Angie. Tell me which one you like best. I'm sure it'll be Boston.
I'll get there at some point. But yeah, it was really interesting. I've learned a lot this morning. So thank you very much to you, and thanks for everyone that joined us.
Yeah, thank you all very much for your time.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely comments, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.